Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and today I'm going to be talking about something that I really love a lot, and it has to do with dinosaurs. And in case you guys have missed it, I started playing Jurassic World Evolution recently on this channel, and it's going to be a whole playlist full of gameplays of that game, and I want to also take advantage of the topic and talk about dinosaurs in the next few vlogs, starting with the Jurassic Park movies. You know, I am a huge fan of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. You know, I remember that the hype surrounding the release of Jurassic World was so huge that I almost cried, man, because it was like the resuscitation of sorts, and the resurrection of one of my most beloved film franchises in history. You know, and I have a story to tell, you know, in future vlogs about why I was so in love with dinosaurs when I was a kid. You know, I'm gonna get into that later, but today I want to talk about the movies specifically. All right, now the original 3 Jurassic Park movies are something special, you know, and the first one of course is the best one. You know, you can't really argue with that. The second one I also really do love a lot, and there are times when I consider it to be better than the original, but it depends on how you see it. You know, it depends on how exactly you approach it, you know, on what angle you come at it from. You know, the special effects got better and better as the movies went on, you know, but of course the original being released back in the early 90s was something really special, you know, because it was a movie that nobody had seen up until then. You know, Steven Spielberg, you know, created these amazingly CGI monsters, you know, with also practical effects, you know, and Jurassic Park, the original movie, was actually known for using groundbreaking CGI effects to make the dinosaurs, you know, but a lot of the movie did use actual life-size practical models, you know, which was really unprecedented at the time, you know, and they were so lifelike and realistic, you know. Even if you get into the whole nitpicky territory of did certain dinosaurs have feathers and this and that, and some of these dinosaurs didn't live during the Jurassic period but it was actually the Cretaceous period, but whatever, you know, stop nitpicking. And now, in case you guys don't know, the first 2 Jurassic Park movies were actually based on 2 novels by the author Michael Crichton, and those novels are something horrendous, you know. Not to say that they're bad, but guys, the books are horrifically violent. There is so much blood, gore, and graphic violence depicted in these books that it's actually hard to read sometimes, you know. Certain chapters, as you're reading, like, you start to get a stomach ache and you gotta put the book down a little bit, you know, because it's really hard to stomach. And me, I'm the kind of person who, when I read a book, I try to visualize. My brain automatically visualizes as vividly as possible. I have a very proactive imagination, so if I'm reading a book, you know, if it's a fiction novel, then it's very easy for me to be transported into that world, you know, as I'm sure a lot of you also are. But the thing with Jurassic Park is that so many elements were taken from it to create the first movie that it's like if you watch the movie and then read the book afterwards, you're going to think you're reading a completely different story. Whereas if you read the book first and then watch the movie, it's like, wow, this is really family friendly, you know? I mean, what the hell? Because I do believe that the first Jurassic Park movie was rated PG-13 or not, you know, I think, but there was a certain rating that allowed for a certain level of violence on screen, you know, but sometimes I try to imagine, like, what would have happened? What would it have been like if the first 2 Jurassic Park movies, which were based on books, were actually rated R? Now, take into consideration that any movie that involves dinosaurs, you know, especially this one where you create genetically engineered dinosaurs in the theme park, there is going to be violence. These things are going to break out and they are going to eat people. That's just how it is, you know. In all 3 movies, there is a relatively decent kill count, you know. The second one I think is the one that has the most amount of deaths because a whole entire army infiltrates the island and they start dying, you know, by the dozens. So, but you're going to see a lot of on-screen violence. There's blood, there's dinosaurs eating people, you know, and maiming them, but it's always like, it's controlled, you know. Like, I have a very low threshold for violence, which I did talk about on another video, but like the Jurassic Park movies, it's something that I can see. I can watch it and feel okay. I don't feel queasy, I don't feel sick, you know. Even though the first time that I saw that movie, that scene in The Lost World, the second one, where that hunter guy, I forgot his name, Dieter, I believe it was Dieter, where he was killed by a pack of Compsognathus, the little green compies, and you see, like, you hear them munching on him and ripping, tearing his skin and the bones crunching. Then you see, like, you hear him stop screaming, and then you see the blood, you know, like you see the blood coming down in the lake, you know. It's just, ugh. But anyway, apart from that, like there are a few scenes where you do feel a little sick to your stomach, you know, but they are few and far between because all of the other deaths are pretty much like, oh, okay, that guy died. You know, it's like somebody gets eaten by a T-Rex. Wow, big deal. You know, you don't really see blood. You know, there is one scene in The Lost Road where this poor bastard gets ripped apart by 2 T-Rexes. You know, it's pretty brutal. But like the point, guys, is that the books are so much more violent than the movies that like if you were to make an actual faithful adaptation of the books, I mean, the movies would definitely have to be rated R. You know, it's impossible because there's so much violence. And there are a lot of scenes that were taken from the books and they were changed a little bit for the film adaptations. Like, for example, John Hammond, who he actually... he still appears throughout the first 2 movies. He doesn't show up in the third one, but I do believe he's mentioned a few times, you know. But the thing is that John Hammond is still alive in the movies. I do believe that it is implied that he dies of old age. That's why the actor didn't come back. But the thing is that in the books, already in the first Jurassic Park book, the guy dies by being eaten alive by compies in his own park. Like, I think he's just taking a stroll. I don't really remember too well, but he's taking a stroll through the park. He's just walking around or something. Then a pack of compies swarms the guy and just eats him alive, you know? And these things are freaking little bastards, man. These things are demons. Like, one by itself might actually look a little cute, you know? Oh, it's a little dinosaur. It looks like a little lizard. Yeah, but when a bunch of them swarm you... Let's just say it's not a very pleasant way to die. I think it might even be worse than being taken apart by a velociraptor, you know, because I don't know, man. You know, there are a lot of very, very brutal kills in the books, you know, and there's actually one that's very, very hard to stomach, which is one where a velociraptor freaking sticks his, like he ambushes a guy, sticks his claw into his spine, and I don't know. There's actually a very good channel called I think Clayton Fiorti. I'm gonna leave a link to his channel up here, where he literally only does videos about Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, movies, games, books, you know. His videos are actually really interesting because he puts into perspective different elements from the books and movies and meshes them together, and he tells you a little bit of certain scenes that were in the books and weren't in the movies and vice versa, and deleted scenes from the movies. So this channel is really, really cool for you guys to check out later. So yeah, if you happen to go check out his channel, you know, leave a comment saying that you heard it from Chazzy. Maybe he'll come and you know, give me a like or something. Now, the thing with Jurassic Park 3, which is, I guess, unanimously considered to be the worst of the 3, you know, I actually really liked it a lot. But then again, I am a huge fan of the entire franchise as a whole, and I did used to love dinosaurs back when I was a kid. So when the third movie came out in 2001, and I actually went to theaters to see it with my folks, you know, I was thrilled, man. It was freaking awesome, you know. And to this day, I watch it and I love it a lot. And like, I guess I can understand because it wasn't directed by Steven Spielberg, you know. So, but still, like, it did still feel like a Jurassic Park movie. You know, there were a few scenes that just felt a little comical, you know, like there was one where Alan was on the airplane, you know, Dr. Alan Grant, and he just like fell asleep and he had a quick dream when there was nobody on the plane and there was a raptor next to him calling his name, you know. That was just a nightmare, you know. It was weird, but I don't know. There were a few scenes that just couldn't really be taken too seriously, but in general, I do think the movie was really enjoyable, especially for me. It introduced us in full to the pteranodons, you know, the pterodactyls who came down like raining hell on everyone when they got to the birdcage. So, and the thing with Jurassic Park, the first 3 movies, is that there's a whole story there, you know. There's a whole story around, you know, what you see, the islands, you know, because the dinosaurs were created on a certain island. They were actually on Isla Sorna, and then they were nurtured there. They grew up, and then they were moved to Isla Nublar, where the park was, even though we do see a scene where the dinosaurs are hatching an egg, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But plot holes aside, these 2 islands are in symbiote with each other, and then there was a storm that blew in and destroyed all of the facilities, so the dinosaurs, they were released into the wild and they just thrived, you know. They overtook the island. So Isla Sorna pretty much became a national wildlife preserve where the dinosaurs were able to roam free, you know. Now, something like this happening in real life would be awesome, you know. Like, imagine like going on a safari, but instead of regular animals in the Kenya, Africa thing, it's just dinosaurs. That would be cool. Dangerous as hell, but yeah, I think you guys get the idea. Now, the idea, the Jurassic Park 3 was, I think that the reason that it's so much different from the other movies is that there wasn't a book based on it, you know, because Michael Crichton wrote only the first 2 Jurassic Park novels and then he passed away, unfortunately, so there was never really a script or a source material to make Jurassic Park 3, so I guess they kind of used what they had with the first 2 movies and kind of, got into it, you know, and they were all released within the 90s and early 2000s. You know, the first movie was in 93, the second was in 97, and then the third was in 2001, and I think that the violence shown in these movies, I mean, if you guys ever consider Jurassic Park 1, 2, or 3 to be violent, it's because you haven't read the books, man. There are so many crazy and violent, grisly scenes, you know, and the author really goes into detail. He goes into very vivid and intricate detail around the gore that you see. So count yourself lucky if you think the movies are violent, you know. If you ever read the books and you're a queasy person like me, for example, you're not going to be able to take it. Believe me, you are not going to be able to take it. So that's just that's the advice that I can give you guys, you know. If you ever decide to go read the books, just make sure you don't have a full stomach before you do, because you're gonna throw up everything that you ate. Now, getting into more modern territory, we have the Jurassic World movies. We have 2 of them already, and I do believe the third is already in production, you know. And the thing with Jurassic World is that it was amazing, man. Like over, I think, 14 years after Jurassic Park 3, you know, is when it came out in 2015, and it was amazing. The hype was so crazy. I was having a nerdgasm. Like, when the movie was announced, man, I almost broke down crying because I really wanted to watch it, you know. Like, the idea that despite everything that happened in the first 3 movies, that they would create a theme park, but now it's like you fast forward into the future and it's a very successful theme park, you know, with a lot of people coming in and visiting, tourists, you know, and it's actually making money. So I guess they kind of glossed over what happened in the first movie, you know, but I think it was still really cool. And they of course, there are parallels to the first one, you know, that's actually completely normal. We have the Indominus Rex subplot, you know, where they made a new genetically engineered dinosaur, you know, but everything went wrong because they didn't observe the proper enclosures, you know. Mad Pat over in Film Theory did a really good video talking about this specifically, why the Indominus broke out and why I was a freaking psychopath. And I think that the sequel really built on that, you know. I'm not going to get too much into those because the focus of this video is Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World, but Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was the sequel, and it actually built on that, where the dinosaurs are under risk from a volcanic eruption, you know, but some of them are actually smuggled off the island to be sold off at auction, you know, so it's very, very crazy. But I do think the first one is even better because, I mean, it's awesome and it sets up everything, you know, that we see later on down the road. And I think that the idea that a theme park like this was created and at one point was actually successful, to me is amazing, you know. It's really cool to see, like, what could the original have been if everything didn't go wrong. But of course, this is Jurassic World, so everything goes wrong. Everything goes wrong at some point, you know, and the dinosaurs start breaking out again, you know, power outages, this and that, so there's chaos all around. And I do believe that it was an amazing and perfect, fantastic spiritual successor. You know, I do think it was really cool for them to have made such a successful reboot of a beloved franchise, you know. Normally, I'm against rebooting franchises and remaking movies, but rebooting, like making a continuation like Disney tried to do with Star Wars, I'm actually okay with that. I don't like what Disney did with Star Wars, but I'm talking about Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, you know. I don't think anyone should ever try to remake any of the original movies, but having Jurassic World here as a successful as a spiritual successor, a direct continuation, to me is awesome, and I am very excited to watch the third one, which I believe, at least the working title, is called Jurassic World Dominion, where the dinosaurs are completely loose on the mainland now. You know, there's a scene where a T-Rex comes in and tries to and overtakes a lion enclosure at the zoo, so we have a new apex predator. Sorry, bless me. So I do think that the movie is going to be very, very crazy. Like, how exactly they're going to control all of these massive beasts now, I have no idea, but I'm sure that there are gonna be some parallels to the Lost World, you know, where the T-Rex is set loose in San Diego, so that's gonna be really cool. But in general, if these movies were rated R, I think they would benefit a lot more. You could show a lot more graphic violence, you know, and gore. But of course, somebody like me would have a hard time watching it, no doubt, you know, because I can't really do violence too well. But in general, guys, I I think it was actually okay to keep it PG-13 all the way through, because it just makes it easier for kids to watch too, kids who were into dinosaurs like I am. Because if the original movies were rated R, my parents would not have let me watch them, because I was a kid when I started. They only let me because I liked dinosaurs, you know. So if they were rated R, the violence would be way too much for me, you know. So, and as I got older and I started getting more into cinema and behind the scenes, I started seeing how these movies were made, the special effects, the behind the scenes featurettes, and it was really cool to see, because when I was a kid I used to think these were actual real dinosaurs and the actors were real people who were dying, you know. I didn't really grasp the concept of movies too much back then, but after a while I started to understand, so it just became really cool, you know. I really like the Jurassic Park movies a lot, and seeing how everything was made, you know, to me was just amazing. Well guys, I think that's it. I think that's really all I can say about it, you know. I really wish I could get into more detail, but I don't want this video to be too long, you know, and I might just come back later and talk about specifically Jurassic World. I will definitely review the third movie when it comes out and I watch it. So for now, that's it. I want to get into my other videos here. I don't want to get too distracted by just one, you know, so yeah guys, that's just how it works, you know. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, if you like it, you know, make sure to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment or two. Let me know if you are also into dinosaurs, you know, and it's gonna be really nice to record the next series of vlogs, which are all gonna be related to dinosaurs to some degree, so that's gonna be really cool. But yeah, that's it for now. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.